What it do, y'all? It's your guy Bendu coming at y'all with another video today. And yo, finally saw Spider-Man No Way Home, so let's go ahead and get into it. So off rip, I'm gonna say I really like this film a lot. You know what? I love this film a lot. However, that being said, this review today, I want to start off with things that kind of bothered me about the movie, which didn't, like bother me to the point where I'm like, oh, that's just ridiculous. But it was certain things that happened in this movie where I was like, okay, I'll let it slide, But let's start off just with Aunt May. Aunt May was going to be the biggest problem in this movie for me because I knew what they were going to do to her. So I probably should have said this at the top of the video. There's going to be spoilers in this. I'm going to spoil the frick out of this. I'll put it in the title. I'll put it in the thumbnail as well. I'm going to talk spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, go watch the movie, come back and watch my review because I'm really about to spoil this joint. All right, 3, 2, 1. So my biggest problem was Aunt May with this movie because I feel like, all right, and this is just indicative overall of how I felt about Holland's Spider-Man. Now, no, I will say this. What they did at the end of the movie, the precipice they set going forward for Spider-Man at the end of this movie, I'll let the Aunt May stuff slide because of what, the stage they put him on going forward. If they do any more movies, because this is a good send-off, and I'll get to that, but I kind of let the Aunt May stuff slide because of what happened at the end of the film. But that being said, that was an issue for me. I didn't feel the emotional gut punch they wanted me to feel, aside from Holland's acting, but that, they tried to make us feel for Aunt May when she died. And it's like, bro, in all 3 movies, she's probably had about 20 minutes of screen time. Let's be real. About 20 minutes of screen time. And that's because with him being in the MCU, they focused a lot on him in his 2 films interacting with the Marvel characters. In the first film, he was interacting with Happy Hogan a lot. He was interacting with Tony Stark. Tony wasn't like he probably, like, how much screen time did he have? And I would say he had about 15-20 minutes in that movie maybe. But we didn't get a lot of Aunt May. Now, the reason why I'm like that bothered me a lot is because I really like Marissa Tomei's Aunt May. My favorite Aunt May is probably Garfield's, because I feel like she was more relatable to me than Tobey's. Like, Tobey's Aunt May was like this, just like almost like Mother Teresa. Probably a bad comparison given what we know about Mother Teresa now, but like just like this, like larger than life, perfect, parental figure and things like that. Where you had Sally Fields' Aunt May, that to me was like more relatable, especially for somebody, I've had a lot of women in my life, like my aunt and my mother and things like that. Like, their interactions reminded me more of that. It was more relatable. Garfield's Aunt May was more relatable, but that was even more so with Marissa Tomei's Aunt May, especially. Like, I just remember my mom teach me how to tie a tie, even though my grandfather was in my life. He by the time like I got around to actually having to wear one, like, he had passed away and everything. So my mom was teaching me how to put it. So like that scene from Homecoming, hit close to home for me. And just a lot of the interactions she had with Peter, them going out to dinner and things like that. Like, I like stuff like that. I like little moments like that. Like, same thing with like just the Avengers universe overall. I like when the Avengers are interacting just as much as they're kicking ass, and sometimes even more so with their interactions, because that stuff is fascinating. Like, especially in Endgame, like, most people, like, they love the scenes where Tony, snapping on Cap, calling him liar and things like that. But I just like the scenes like and Endgame later on when Tony pulls up like, why the long face, and they're just having this like conversation. Like I like conversation, I like dialogue in these films. So that's something that I feel we didn't get a lot of, especially in Far From Home, because he wasn't home, you know, he was away. So we didn't get a lot, you know, more of her. We didn't get a fleshing out of what happened between her. Like a lot of the stuff about her finding out Peter was Spider-Man happened off screen, and then you come into Far From Home and it's just, okay, she's cool with him being Spider-Man. There's no, like, we didn't get like a flashback or anything about, like, I just feel like we didn't get a lot of her. And now, and like just a lot of her ideology and like her, you know, philosophical look on the world. Like they're just saying, well, you know, Aunt May, she's, you know, from the comics and from the previous movies, you know what the gist of her is, so just go with it. It's like, no, this is like a completely different Aunt May. For starters, she's hot. as Tony like to keep calling her Aunt Hottie, like she's hot. And then, but not even just that, that was a joke, but not even just that, but she was kind of playing like this hipsterish like Aunt May a little bit that I kind of was digging. Like it was kind of cool. I wish, like I was saying, I wish we could have gotten more from her, and then they just kill her in this movie, and that was just like, oh my god. Now no, the death was amazing, the scene was amazing. Like just, you think she's okay at first, and then she just collapses, and the way she died and Peter's reaction to it, and obviously Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, man, the way he played that off, like, you'll thank me later, Peter, or whatever. Like he knew what Peter was going to come at him on some stuff next time he saw him. So that was cool, but it was just, I feel like throughout this trilogy we did not get a lot of Aunt May, and I wish we would have got more before they killed her off, because now he's on his own, which again I like, and I'm going to get to that. Now moving on to my second drawback of this film, I probably have about 3 or 4. My second one is literally like the whole first hour of the film. The pacing was garbage, bro. Like even like a scene that's probably my second favorite scene in the film, because Daredevil is my favorite character of all time, even in fictional characters, whether it's literature, whatever, comic books, whatever. Daredevil is my favorite fictional character of all time. Like the pacing up to, you know, in the first hour of the film, I would say maybe 45 minutes actually. Literally the film to me got better, like the pacing wise, because it was good. The story was good in that first hour, but it was the pacing and the direction. I feel like John Watts was a little unfocused in this film when it comes to direction, and the editing as well, because I know they had a lot to do in this film. So, you know, the editing made decisions for that first 45 minutes to the first hour, and some of the directional cues and things like that. John Watts was a little off. Doesn't have me worried for him doing Fantastic Four at all. I'm just saying he was a little distracted, and maybe it's because he's working on Fantastic Four now too, who knows. But that was kind of like jarring for me, because it was like, I like the pacing for the previous two. You know, they're not like beacons of, you know, they're not like a hallmark of, you know, this is the cinematic staple of, you know, film pacing or anything. That's not what I'm saying, but the films were paced, in my opinion, well with Homecoming. Like out of all 3 films, even after No Way Home, Homecoming is still my favorite one, and I'll explain why at the end, because it ties into what happened at the end of the film. But yeah, like some of the pacing was off. Like some of the jokes, I felt like with what was going on, I feel like they kind of like, they rushed through certain elements. So when his identity got revealed and everything, it kind of felt like just like a continuation of Far From Home, which it was, obviously it was, but it was like they just zoomed through that. You feel me? Like him and Zendaya swinging through New York and everything. And now it was funny when Happy and Aunt May walked into the room, and Peter was just in his underwear and she's in there, they're like, oh, they're about to have sex, oh my god. That was freaking hilarious. But another thing, I don't care about Aunt May and Happy, because again, you didn't flesh their relationship out. This guy was just there, you know, showing up, and then he was like, oh yeah, Peter, I'm banging your aunt. It's like, oh, okay, like, all right, y'all just like literally have them say, hey Happy, hey May, and Far From Home, and then that was it. Like, again, not enough screen time for these characters to make me care about their relationship. But I know they were trying to play it off for jokes. Don't make Happy go out like a simp like that, bro. That was I was like, don't disrespect Happy like that, bro. You're talking about, this is the guy that was around Iron Man all the time. Now I know just because he's around somebody like Tony doesn't mean he'll be, you know, he'll be that dude when it comes to the females. But don't do him like that. That was like sad, bro. It was like you're they had Happy out there begging like Keith Sweat, bro. Yo, I wanna hold ya, I wanna love ya. That was like, oh my god, bro. But yeah, I didn't care about that, and so those scenes played off as kind of weird and everything. Literally, like I said, once Doc Ock showed up, that's when I was like, okay. And in the first 45 minutes they made Peter so dumb. It was like, what? Like, even Doctor Strange had to call about. He was like, wait, hold up. You didn't go and talk to the college before you had me try to brainwash the whole freaking world, bro. Get out my house, bro. That was literally like literally when Strange said that, they cut the Peter standing outside the door and then it was like slamming in his face. That was hilarious, bro. Doctor Strange was really cool in this movie too. I liked him in this movie a lot, but he actually had a Pusha T bar. He had a line from a Pusha T song from this joint. I'm gonna get to it, but and I would say my third dislike is definitely the introductions of Toby and Andrew Garfield. Now, the worst kept secret in Hollywood. We all knew they were in this movie. I don't know why they kept trying to hide it, but we knew. So I actually got Toby's introduction was spoiled for me on YouTube. Like I saw like a second of it and I clicked out of my YouTube. Some asshole literally put like a GIF on YouTube of Toby walking through the portal. It pissed me off. And it was on like Thursday. It was like Thursday morning. I just got off work. It was like 7 a.m. in the morning. And somebody posted that on their YouTube. I was like, you're a dick, bro. Like, if I had my choice, I would freaking like throw you in a Marvel gulag where you fucking, oh my God. It pissed me off, man. But I thought the introductions were kind of wonky. Like, there was a like the whole Ned scene. Like, I bought into Ned being, you know, having magical capabilities, because basically the way they explain it is that anybody can kind of do magic. It's just about how in tune with, you know, the energies around you that you are. And maybe Ned's, you know, people previously in Ned's family. So I guess he's like Latino in this. I always thought Ned was Asian, like in the Homecoming trilogies. Let me know if I'm tripping, but it sounded like his grandma was speaking Spanish. So I thought he was Asian. That's probably my fault. He looked Asian to me. I don't know. But if he is Latino, you know, and it's kind of like I would assume he's like Mexican or something like that. It would be dope if he has like Mayan heritage or something like that, and that's why he's more tapped in, because the Mayans were more mystical with their culture and things like that. So that would be dope. So I kind of bought my brain thinks like that when that's what I was literally thinking about in the movie. So when I heard his grandma speaking Spanish, I was like, oh, he's Asian, or I was like, oh, he's not Asian. He's actually, you know, he's Latino. Oh, so he might be Mexican. Oh, yo, it would be dope if they can. My brain just thinks like that. So I immediately thought of the Mayans as a reasoning why maybe he had an ancestor who was like, you know, a healer or a magic person, and who knows. But I bought into the whole Ned having magical capabilities thing, because even they set that up in Doctor Strange. Anybody can, you know, necessarily do it. It's just about, you know, how in tune with the frequencies of the the energies around you are and shit like that. So I bought into that, but it was just the way, like, it really felt like they were like, man, like, we have the daunting task of bringing Toby and Andrew back, but how can we do it? And they were just kind of like winging it a little bit. Like, there was just go with the first thing that comes to your mind, and like that's what they came up with. Now it like when they did come through, like when Andrew came through, I love the humor. Hilarious. Like when his grandma was like, can you get the cobwebs up there? You just see him crawling on the wall, like gets the cobwebs out. That was hilarious. You know? But it was just the notion of, all right, try again. Like, I was like, bro, you might as well just write, all right, bring Tobey Maguire in now. I was half expecting Zendaya to say that, because that's what it felt like. It felt ham-fisted. Like, I didn't feel like they were forced into the movie, because they came into the movie at the perfect point. This is like literally right after when Aunt May died. They came in at the perfect point to give Peter that advice and things like that. By the way, that's one of the best scenes in film history, by the way, with the three Spider-Men having the conversation and things like that. That's one of the best. I don't care what anybody says. All of these film purists who freaking hate superhero movies, like freaking Ridley Scott and Scorsese and everything. Screw you guys. This is one of the best. That was one of the best scenes in film history. So I guess with that, we'll just go ahead and roll into my likes. Oh my God, bro. My favorite you know what? I'm gonna go with my second favorite because it's on my mind right now and I want to get it out. When Andrew Garfield caught Zendaya, bro, I almost cried, bro. I literally almost cried because although the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is complete hot garbage, that was the highlight of the film to me, was when they killed Emma Stone. Not because I don't like Emma Stone, but because we've never seen that. We've never seen him kill a love interest like that in a superhero movie. So that was cool to see. But just seeing that like almost redemption like look on his face, man. And Zendaya's like, dude, are you okay? Like she's just looking at him like, all right, you can put me down now, are you okay? But it's like she doesn't understand, like that's how he lost his love. And it was like seeing that, and I kind of figured, given how the trailer was cut and everything, that was going to happen, and I was praying that it happened, and I'm glad it did, because I was like, oh my god, man, this is beautiful, bro. And I almost shed a tear and everything. So that was probably my second favorite. You know what? No, I'm gonna say third. That was my third favorite scene. My second favorite scene was the "if he dies, he dies." That was the Pusha T line I was talking about. Dr. Strange said, bro. Dr. Strange was kind of a goon in this movie, bro. This nigga was like, he was like, yo, they gotta die, so I'm gonna send them back to die. If he dies, he dies. So that was like cool to see, like, and Tom Holland said this on stage, because that's him making that decision to help the villains is what led to Aunt May dying. But Tom Holland did say Peter's like his weakness is his humility, and that's something that they had shine across in this film, and was punctuated with Toby and Andrew being there, because it was his mantra. They kept repeating like, this is what we do, basically, like, we sacrifice for the greater good. And that's literally the whole thing with Spider-Man. That's what he's all about. So that was dope to see. I would say my second favorite scene is definitely the Goblin scene. He beat the dog, excuse my French, I know I already been cussing, but he beat the dog shit out of Goblin, bro, at the end, bro. And then when he was like, oh, Peter, you're gonna kill me this whole, he said, nah, bro, I want to put these paws on you myself, bro. I want to put these paws on you. And you could tell he wasn't pulling his punches anymore, bro. Like, he was not, especially when he landed on the shield and you heard the dong, and you saw him put a freaking dent in that joint. I was like, bro, he would have collapsed his chest if that joint would have landed. But you see the scene when Toby, and this is dope. Toby was good in this. I liked him in this. I like Andrew better in this film. I still think Toby is a better overall Spider-Man and Peter than Andrew, but it's something about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is just hilarious, bro. I find the Spider-Man hilarious. But when Toby caught that glider, bro, it was like, oh my god, man. I was like, because he's been at moments like this, bro. He's definitely been at moments like this. I feel like he was thinking about his situation with Harry and Spider-Man 3. That was actually one of the highlights, the better parts of Spider-Man 3 was when Peter had to come, he had to reckon with what he did to Harry, how he almost killed him and scarred his face, even though Harry didn't live too long after that, which they highlighted in this film too. He tells Ned, he was like, so did you have a best friend too? He said, yeah, he died in my arms. And a couple hours before that, he tried to kill me. You just see Ned like acting weird around Peter because he's like, yo, I'm gonna turn evil and kill Peter or whatever. But yeah, but just him stopping that glider, bro, stopping him from killing Goblin, because it was like, bro, that's not what we do, dog. And they kind of hinted, at least with Garfield's Spider-Man, because Garfield was like, I stopped pulling my punches. So I'm like, bro, did you kill Rhino? In that last scene, did you kill him? I'm like, God, man. And maybe he killed Lizard later on. Who knows? That's why he died. Because I'm like, we never got Flint Marko. Like, Flint Marko never died in that Spider-Man 3 movie. And Sandman didn't die. And Dr. Connors, didn't die. So I'm like, did Garfield kill him later on? And did like something happen where Flint Marko returned back to crime and Peter accidentally or through circumstance? Because a lot of with Toby's films, the villains died through circumstances. Like Goblin died with the piercing of his own glider. Doc Ock died sacrificing himself. Topher Grace's Venom died because greed, and he wanted his symbiote back. Harry died, sacrificing himself to save Peter. Like, they always died of circumstances. He didn't outright kill them. So that was interesting to see. And Jamie Foxx's character overloaded himself, but they honestly could have brought Jamie Foxx back. They could have just been like, oh, he went to like a conductor, so I don't know. They could have brought him back somehow. But Another highlight I want to point out is definitely the Doctor Strange relationship, man. Doctor Strange was hilarious in this film with the kids, like especially with MJ. I was like, yo, MJ is a boss ass B, man. She was like, I know 2 magic words, and first of all, you messed up the spell, bro, because you're an amateur. Wong even told him not to do it. Well, he hinted, because they kind of changed that from the trailer. Wong was like, bro, look, just leave me out of this, bro, and he dipped out. But MJ was like, you kind of messed this spell up, and I know 2 magic words. And I think she said like please and thank you or something like that. He's like, please Scooby-Doo this shit. Like, Doctor Strange is still kind of a dick, bro. Still kind of a dick. But I really like Doctor Strange in this movie. Like I said, the fight with him and Peter was crazy. The action sequences in this were amazing, like freaking amazing. Even the scene in the apartment where Goblin and Peter was duking it out, man. Goblin whooped his ass in that scene. Oh my God, he whooped his ass. Slamming him through walls and shit through different floors. Like Lizard and Goblin are WWEing. Like Peter's like, oh shit, bro, what? And then obviously Aunt May died, and that's one of my highlights too, is the death of Aunt May. Even though it didn't impact me emotionally, like, oh my God, he spent this moment with her, that moment, but the acting of her dying, and then she's basically the MCU's Uncle Ben. So I'm assuming Ben didn't exist in his universe, or if he did, he didn't die of the circumstances we normally see Uncle Ben dying in. So unless they're gonna go, because they have that Spider-Man animated freshman year movie coming out or freshman year TV show, animated show that I'm excited about coming out, and they're going to explain that there. But yeah, man, because she said that with great power comes great responsibility line, and I couldn't tell if they were kind of like acknowledging that that's something Ben told him and that Ben always said, or if it was something that she said and she's basically the MCU's Uncle Ben. Either way, it's dope. It makes sense and I like it. I know a lot of people aren't going to like it, but I liked it personally. I actually loved it because the way she delivered it, like just how I think she knew she was dying. She touched his chest and just looked at her. She's like, Peter, you gotta know you did the right thing, and with great power. Like, oh my God, man, that was dope. So that was still one of my favorite scenes. And then just the reaction and the cinematography of Peter standing in the rain watching J. Jonah Jameson basically shit on at his lowest point, just shitting on him, bro, was beautiful. So, and to me, that's one of the best scenes in comic book history, bro. Comic book movie history. Like, that was amazing. Like just everything about it. So I guess I'll just close out with the end of the film. And it kind of goes into what I've been saying. They cleaned the slate with Spider-Man. One of my issues with this Spider-Man is that he's relied too much on Tony Stark. Even though I liked the relationship between him and Tony throughout both of Spider-Man's solo dolo films, and even in Infinity War and things like that, and the spin-off films he was in. I liked how basically Tony taught him, he gave him his Iron Man 3 moment and Homecoming, which is why Homecoming is still my favorite out of the 3, because I like a grounded Spider-Man. I like a broke ass Spider-Man that's struggling to pay rent. He's trying not to get hit with blasts and things like that and punches from certain villains, because if his costume gets cut, he don't know how he gonna fix it. You're like, bro, I'm on the budget, okay? Stop cutting my costume like that. That was amazing. I like, that's the Spider-Man I like that. So I always had a problem with like this Spider-Man getting things easily, and I wonder if they had this plan from the get-go, because now looking back, all 3 of these movies, whether it's Homecoming, Far From Home, and now with No Way Home, it's almost like a 3-year origin story. And like I said, we're going to get the animated freshman year show. It's like they literally just told Spider-Man's origin, you feel me, which was dope. I liked it a lot. I think it plays well now. And like I said, Homecoming is my favorite one because that was the most grounded one out of the 3, you feel me? Like, obviously in No Way Home, you're dealing with universal impact. Like, if Peter basically doesn't let people forget him, like he basically like screws the whole multiverse. I was like, okay. Far From Home dealt with a lot of heavy stakes and everything like that as well. And with but Homecoming was the most grounded one to me. The villain was just a guy trying to provide for his family, and Peter was getting in the way of that. And I like the villain. That's probably my favorite villain out of the 3. You feel me? Like, I love Vulture. Vulture's aside from Doc Ock, he might be my favorite like film Spider-Man villain, honestly, or Kingpin from Spider-Verse. But I guess we're talking live action Spider-Man films. So, but yeah, man, they even gave him like the Mark IV costume, like the Parker Industries costume, kind of. It felt like a mix between that. I was talking to SM Young about this. It looks like a mix between like the classic, like I would say like the later classic versions of Spider-Man. I would say like almost like the J. Michael Straczynski version. It looks like that suit mixed with the Parker Industries suit from the all new, all different Spider-Man. It looks cool. I want to see. I wish they would have gave us a better shot of it, but and it looks like he hodgepodge together like some of the remaining Stark tech he had from his other suits and everything. So it's gonna be cool to see, man. But I want this grounded Spider-Man. Like I said, they set the stage for him to be the Spider-Man I wanted to see. A broke Spider-Man struggling to pay rent. Now that everybody forgot him, you know, people keep saying that people forgot he was Spider-Man. No, people, like Dr. Strange told him, it's going to be like Peter Parker never existed. That's literally what it's going to be like, and that's what it is. And it's kind of sad. It's very sad. But that's what's dope about, to me, what's dope about this film and pushes it over the edge of like Far From Home, you know, not necessarily Homecoming for me, but Far From Home, is that it's the sacrifice. No Way Home came close to Homecoming for me, because my favorite scene from Homecoming is when he's at the party and he's about to go in as Spider-Man, you know, to get cool points with, you know, with everybody and everything, and that explosion goes off and he looks into the party and he looks at the explosion and he recognizes that responsibility kicks in and he ends up leaving the party to go save the day, basically. So those are scenes that I like, and No Way Home, the whole film was like that, but it's just, no, Homecoming was more grounded for me, and that's why I like it better. But the future Spider-Man films are going to be grounded films. Now we may still see them cross over with the Avengers, but I wonder is because people still know, you know, they still know Spider-Man exists. So I'm like, is Spider-Man still an Avenger and the Avengers just don't know who he really is? Or like, does this alter some of the history? So even though like it wasn't necessarily time travel that changed stuff, but it was more so just like people like, we don't know you, who you are. Like, who knows? I guess we'll see when he interacts with the Avengers later on, because not all of the Avengers knew he was like a kid, knew that he was Peter Parker, unless they had some after party, you know, after Endgame or whatever that we never saw, or, you know, actually not a funeral. He was at the funeral, so a lot of people would have known who he was. I forgot about that. And they kind of hinted at about the Skrull thing from Far From Home, because they what are they called? The damage control people were like, yeah, Fury's been off world, so we don't know who you were working with, but he was working with Skrulls, basically. But and that's probably going to play into the invasion storyline. But yeah, man, we're getting a grounded Spider-Man. I was kind of tight we didn't see freaking Mr. I think his name was Dickovich or Dirkovich, whatever. The guy, where's my rent? I wish he would have been the landlord, bro. That would have been just the cherry on top. That would have been the cherry on top. But like I said, man, the first 45 minutes of this film is you know, one of my 3 downsides to this, which led well, you know, the rest of the film is perfect to me, honestly, you know, even with my issues I have with Aunt May. But like I said, I'll forgive the Aunt May stuff because of what they gave us at the end of the film, the clean slate they gave us, the Spider-Man that I've always wanted, the grounded Spider-Man, the realistic and relatable Spider-Man, the guy who's trying to pay his rent, especially now with me at 25, you know. Woo, man, this joke about to be relatable, bro. Like, I probably shouldn't even be seeing this movie right now, but man, oh. So that John's definitely relatable, man. So I'm excited for the future prospects. I'm actually going to be doing a separate video about the post-credit scenes. So we got a Venom post-credit scene and we got basically a Doctor Strange trailer. I want to do 2 separate videos about those, so look out for them. And I'm also going to be doing a video about whether we're going to see Spider-Man in the future. So look out for that. So with that being said, guys, I know it was a long video, but I want to go ahead and close the video out there. As always, like, subscribe, and share, but definitely comment, because I want to hear what y'all thought about this movie, bro. I want to hear what people think. I know me and Shiz, so my guy Shiz, me and him are going to have an announcement coming up soon. We're going to do a Spider-Man review, and we'll let you know what the platform of that is going to be. But you'll see. Just stay tuned on the channel, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close the video out there. As always, peace. Be easy. From your friendly neighborhood Bendu.
you.